I'm just going to go ahead and share this now. Okay. Hello, y'all. I'm going to review this raincoat. There we go. There we go. Alright, I want to see the comments. Hopefully you guys can hear me alright. So, this is the raincoat. She wasn't that hard to make. She has magnetic buttons. This is the inside. She has pockets. And a hood. Matter of fact, let me just try it on. This is the prototype because I could not find a raincoat that I like. So you got the magnetic purse straps, purse clasps. And I glued a button. Thank you. So I glued the button on, and I'm trying to do this. That's a magnet. There we go. If I just quit fighting with it. So I glued a button on there because that's the opposite side of the button, or the clasp. Like I said, it's a purse clasp. So in order to, because you know when it's raining, you want, right? Let me move this out of the way. So this is the raincoat. Here's the back. And the design is for the hood to kind of fold back. Because you know how we do. And with the button. But if you have it open, right? I put a brooch here. I glued a pretty button brooch on the opposite side. I'm going to tell you guys about the pattern, about the material, and kind of zoom in so you guys can see. Oh, pockets. And of course, the inside. I just wanted to go over everything. So there's the inside material. It's serged. There's a couple tricks. The material of the inside. It's the inside. The inside. It's cloth. Okay. So this is it. And I'm going to sit down, and you guys got any questions? I'm going to go over some stuff. Because I promised this video the other day, but I was having technical difficulties. And I was just not playing with it over and over. So, alright. So let's go over the raincoat. I couldn't find a raincoat pattern I liked because they all look like garbage bags or big, ugly, whatever. The closest thing I could do. How come I can't see your comments? Hey, Carol. How come I can't see your comments? There we go. I can see them now. closest pattern I could get to kind of share with you guys where the inspirational, any special serger settings for that fabric. No. There are special things that I use to kind of make it go a little easier. So let me share the pattern. This is the pattern I used to get the hood pieces, and because it has a princess, but there's darts. There are darts in the front and darts in the back. So this is the pattern, and this is an old pattern, but I'm sure if the number has changed, you can still get the pattern. You're only gonna need certain pieces though, and this is what I learned the hard way. You're only gonna need piece number 1, which is the upper front, number 2, the upper back, 3, the hood, 5, the front facing. No, that's where, okay, that's where you don't need it. I cut it out, but you didn't need it. Not for a raincoat. If this was a regular coat, you would. I'm gonna tell you why. So you just need 1, 2, 3, 6 is the sleeve, 8 is the pocket, that's optional, the lower front, the lower back. I made the tie belt, but I didn't like how bulky it was. That's why I decided to do this. The instructions are of a tie. It's like a tie, and I think I made the view B. So I'll show you guys the picture one more time. Let me show you the back, the illustration. You guys see the illustration? All right. So you're gonna need to cut out one of everything. Believe it or not, I made this out of a shower curtain set. You know I like to play around with my fabric. So I went to Walmart, and I don't know what made me. These are the two Walmart materials I used, right? And they cost me $8.48 a piece. You're gonna need 2 of each. So you're gonna need 2 of the vinyls and 2 of the fabric coordinating if you want to make this out of that fabric or material. I wanted to test it on something that wasn't real expensive, that was something that was kind of pretty, a little bold, a little out there, and fun. And that's a shower curtain. So I got 2 of each. So it was roughly $40 for all the material as far as the fabric. Then the buttons, like I said, um, the buttons were an afterthought because I didn't want to use the belt. And then when you use the purse magnets, you use the magnets. They're strong enough to keep you in, but I didn't want to rip the material with a zipper or snaps that were strong because the material is going to rip. Now here's another tip that your pins, you're like, well, I don't want to poke a million holes. It's a raincoat, it will leak. It's kind of self-healing because it is a shower curtain. So if you use really sharp pins and to pin the material, or to pin when you want to pin this, use sparingly, but here's a bar of soap. It's just a regular ivory bar of soap. I wrapped it in tape, right? Because it will crumble because it's ivory. It's the cheap dry stuff. But if you do this, it helps the pin slide through the vinyl. It is really waterproof. And it's very comfortable, very breathable. And the pattern runs a little large, so I made a size that was a little bit too big for me, but it works out. So stick a handful of pins in a bar of soap to help you prepare when you get ready to do this. Also, Sewer's Aid. Sewer's Aid is an excellent tool to use for vinyl well, it's rubbed off, but I use it a lot. Oh, I should have got a headband. Do I have a headband somewhere? Shit. This. All right. So Sower's Aid is a good for the application on the needle. You don't put it on the material. You put a little drop. If you Google Sower's Aid, there should be a video out there somewhere on how to use this. I thought I made a video, but I don't think I actually downloaded it. But you put a drop or in your bobbin thread. You put just you put a couple drops in your bobbin thread. It's like an oily silicone type, and it doesn't bleed onto your fabric if you don't use too much. I use just a regular thread. I think I even used serger thread on my sewing machine to put this together because, like I said, this was just a test run. This was a test run because I actually found some really pretty fabric that is two-sided. I guess it's called wax fabric, but I don't know why. There's nothing wax about it. But I'm gonna make another one out of this. This is actually one of the pieces. It's fabric on one side and vinyl on the other. And it's for tablecloths. And I got this at Hobby Lobby and I got a couple bolts because they're gonna stop selling it. And that's less complicated than sewing the two side. What size needle? I use the size 14 or 16 needle. This shower curtain is not very thick. So even though you're thinking it's not your traditional cloth, you don't want it too thin because you don't want it to pop. But you don't want it too thick of the pieces, except for the bodice. I'm pretty sure. I I serged, well, first I base stitched with my sewing machine all of the fabric pieces to the vinyl pieces, right? So you cut out, let's say the hood piece, right? Half of a circle. I laid the wrong sides together and I made them one pattern piece because I didn't want to try to line up vinyl and fabric, and over time the fabric will sag and shift because it's fabric, right? It's going to come apart a little bit, it's going to move, it's going to relax. The vinyl is not going to shift, it's not going to move, it's going to keep its shape over time. So I just serged the two pieces together so I wouldn't have a whole lot of difference in the inner lining versus the outer lining. And plus, it's a raincoat. I'm not going through all that for a raincoat. Not doing it. So the bottom pieces, the sleeves, I serged the piece together and then I used it as the one pattern piece when I was assembling the raincoat. The only piece that I did do separate is the bodice, only because the way that the hood is inserted, it's inserted without a seam in the front or the back, and I didn't want to top stitch around the collar because if it's raining, all of these things need to be taken into consideration when you're looking at the directions on how to assemble this. You're going to have to think to yourself what you're using it for. You're using it for a raincoat, so a lot of the top stitching skip because you're not going to use that. You don't want extra holes already in the raincoat. You can use a wax pencil and draw on a line depending on what color. You can use a nice wax pencil and then stitch over that wax pencil mark, and that will help seal your raincoat. But I mean, it only lasts so long. But here's the thing: entrenching rain. I mean, I've wore this raincoat, I don't know, 8 times. I haven't had an issue of getting wet at all. And like I said, there's darts. So other than the bodice, I used them all as one pattern piece, and then the bodice I did do separate. They are separate pieces because of the way that the darts are. You want to put the darts on the inside, and ooh, this is another thing. When you get your material, it's gonna have fold heavy fold marks in it because it's vinyl, right? Don't try to heat up the vinyl at all. That's Please don't try to heat up the vinyl at all, only because I tried it. I tried it with a blow dryer, I tried it with my steamer, melted a piece. Tried it with a very light setting on the iron between two pieces of fabric, melted anyway. This is very cheap shower curtain vinyl. It's not really made for heat. So you're just gonna have to let it hang naturally. You're gonna have some folds in it when you finally put it together after you wear it a couple times. As you can see, some of my fold marks from when I bought it are gone now. So do not heat up the vinyl at all. The lesson learned here was the magnets that I used, the purse magnets. Here we go. Do I have any more? This is the same company, right? You get the little things. It's for the purse clip. These here. They have some where it doesn't poke through, the kind that poke through and bend. I think going forward, if I did that, I would get the kind that you just somehow adhere to it, because it was hard to cover up. Like you can see here. Here we go. I'll take this off again. I'm so lazy. I don't even feel like getting up. That's the inside of those magnets. They fold in, and they're not even the same. One's a square and one's a circle. Whatever. I used flip-flop glue, I think, or that E9000 to glue this little brooch button on top of, because if the coat is open, I didn't want you to see the folded part. And this is what I meant by the inside of the bodice being, let me move this pop before I spill it. Yep, it's pop. I'm from up north. It's pop, it's called Pepsi. So I didn't do the top stitching around the collar. I did top stitch the hood though. Let this focus. And ironically, if you lay your pieces out and you're mindful, if you have a busy pattern like this, at a distance, the pattern actually lined up pretty nice. Be mindful of your pattern too, because you wouldn't want, this is the back of the coat, you wouldn't want this big giant circle like off to the side. And I thought that was figure flattering to have this, you know, the designs. You might want to make sure your sleeves kind of sort of match. Yeah, but this is a very, and it's pretty sturdy. I would love to meet you. I live in Detroit too. I just started to sew. I have 2 sewing machines and just purchased service. I learned from you. What is your name? Because that's another thing I want to talk to you guys about. I haven't seen everybody in like forever, right? And that's next. I'm going to finish this next. So again, just make sure you have your bar soap with your pins in it. If you want to spend, I mean, you don't need to spend a lot of extra money on special thread. Oh, make sure you have your Teflon foot. And if you do not have a Teflon foot, all you have to do is take regular schmegular Scotch tape. Right, they do make special tape. I have the special tape. I have heavy duty special tape upstairs for my boat canvas window replacements. But it for something this light, it will, okay, hello Rhonda, it will gum up your needle. That's why it's up to you. After you cut out all your pieces, play with your serger, run it through 2 layers of fabric and 2 layers of vinyl with the vinyls on the outside, so you can do any adjustments you need to do, and with your machine, and then you know how much sewer's aid to use, which is this. And then again, take your pins, make sure your pins are going through, you know, to hook, because it will shift. It will shift really bad. So make sure that you, even though you're like, oh, I don't need to use pins, I'll use quilt clips and all. I tried that. It didn't work. I needed pins. I needed pins all day long. Ugh, pop. What else was there? I was getting ready to say something else. I got sidetracked. Any more questions? Oh, oh, yeah, the Hobby Lobby, because the Hobby Lobby fabric, 3.5 yards, right? Oh, one shower curtain is equivalent to 3 yards for $8, or was it a yard and a half? All I know is I bought two and two, and it was enough. I want to make sure, and I didn't have a whole lot left. But for the Hobby Lobby stuff, and I bought like bolts. There are bolts over there. 100 and it's like $200, and it was all clearance stuff. And one's 5 yards, one's 5 yards. What do I think about teaching? Right now, I don't even have time to keep up on my YouTube channel. So, I don't know. But you can inbox me or send me an email, wendybydesign@att.net, and we can talk about that. Because I'm not sure I have the time to do it. You didn't understand how I attach a hood. It's in the instructions. It's a little tricky. Because you want to attach the hood where you don't have a seam on the inside or the outside, because you can see the inside or the outside depending on how you're wearing it, right? So you would have to buy the pattern and look at the instructions, because it's not something very simple I can just talk you through. But basically, you're going to pin the hood edge between the seam line, match the seam, clip in the coat. You're going to attach the vinyl first, and then it's not a French seam. You're attaching, that's what I said, the bodice is the only piece that you're going to sew separately, and then attach the rest of the pieces as double, if that makes sense. A lot of people, I don't think, get what I'm saying. You ever taken two pieces of fabric, you're cutting out the pattern twice, basically. You're cutting each piece twice, because you want the inside and the outside, right? You want the outside to be vinyl, and you want the inside to be fabric. So like, let's say the sleeve piece. Okay, I got the sleeve piece. You're going to take the sleeve piece and serge it into one complete piece closed, right? So it's serged or stitched, base stitched all the way around. Then you're going to put it together. You're going to go ahead, fold it, and then sew up, and then pin the arm, and then put the arm in. That way, first of all, your edges are nice and clean. Second of all, the fabric is not shifting. It's not shifting, it's made to shift. The only piece that I did separate was the vinyl bodice, and then the cloth bodice, and then I put them together like you would normally a coat, instead of sewing the two pieces together beforehand, because that is not in the instructions. I don't think I videotaped any of this construction, and this is a complicated way of doing it, but I just wanted to share with you guys the actual pattern, some tips, and to let you know that Hobby Lobby, I don't know, online they might have this fabric, so you don't have to go through that lining the coat or the jacket, depending on your skill level, because some of you are like more than enough skill, way more skilled than I am, to figure out what I'm talking about. But they have vinyl tablecloth material that has fabric on one side and it's plastic on the other side, and you can make a raincoat and won't even have to worry about, yeah, you're welcome, you won't even have to worry about lining the raincoat, because when I do this again, boom, I'm just going to do this and I won't have to worry about that. I just put in some fabric pockets and be done, because this is that one. I've had a long day. It's been snowing like hell. And Carol, if you're still on here, I know I don't know if you guys got snow, like we got snow, but I've been. There you go. It's oilcloth. This is gonna be the lining to it. And this is going to be the actual raincoat. I've been outside 2 or 3 times today. Yeah, that's oilcloth. And it comes in all kinds. It's kind of pricey, but it depends on what you get or where you get it from. So I'm using anti-static lining and oilcloth for the next one, so I don't have to go through this. This one will probably be for sale. This was just a test. Yeah, it's still like it's still coming, and it's about I think we got about I think there's about 3 feet of snow out there, and I've had a long day, long day. So other than that, is there any other questions before I jump subjects? Because you guys know that I'll be all over the place, and then I'll say I'm coming back, and you won't see me for 7 months. Yeah, I think it's still snowing here for sure. No more questions. Okay, good. So I just I've been talking to Miss Andrea Davis for those of you who know her, and we talk like every day, every other day. And she's going to come to Detroit. So those of you who follow Miss Andrea Davis at Soda Fit, she's going to come to Detroit in June. And we're going to set up a GoFundMe page for her to help get her here. So, probably this week sometime, we'll probably shoot like a video where we're Skyping or FaceTiming. And we'll let you guys know the details. For those of you who want to support, I already, yes, I know. She is a new Mimi. Her grandson. Um, she's ready for a vacation. I told her in June, but we gotta buy her tickets soon. She's gotta buy, yeah, we gotta buy her tickets. She's gotta buy her tickets. And because I work a full-time job, and it'll be boating season, I am not going anywhere. I'll be here. So we're gonna set up a GoFundMe page and see how much we can get to contribute. And then what we'll do is we'll have a meet and greet. Once she's here, once we get the ticket, once we have a date, we're going to have a meet and greet probably in either Royal Oak, Michigan at, I don't want to say the name because I haven't checked with the owner yet, but I'm sure he won't have a problem with it since I go there all the time. But there's a place out in Royal Oak and not Heberman's. It's another place. And then, or obviously Joanne's out in Novi. But I don't know if I want to go way out there because a lot of people don't want to drive way out to Novi. So that's exciting news. Exciting news to get us two together, and we may collab on some kind of, I don't know. I don't know what we can make because we do totally different things. So that's all I have. I will put the details of the pattern, what pieces. I'll type that all out once I download this video and save it. It was good to see from you guys, hear from you guys. I said that backwards, but that's because I'm ready to be done with this and my mind's already on the next thing. So until next time, I will see you guys later. And when I start working on this other beauty here, when I finish her, I started working on her. The hard part's done. She's hiding out in the ATL. Until next time I come on, I'll show you guys this. Done. I'm going to shoot some shots of this and then type out all the stuff. Love you guys. If you haven't, subscribe to this channel. Give me a thumbs up and give me a thumbs down. Make some comments. Keep your comments nice because I'll come. Verbal assassin. Just keep it friendly. Sewing's supposed to be fun. Hey, Marcy. And Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and it's good to be back.